Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another episode of the Freshman 15 College Football Podcast. Back with my guy Tyler Moore discussing college football in about 15 minutes. And after a wild week 3 that saw a harrowing finish down in Knoxville, week 4, not as drama-filled. However, a lot of games revealed a lot of truths about the conferences and what we're going to expect. Also, certain teams kind of held serve in their conferences and in the rankings. Georgia Tech coasted by Temple. Vandy crushed Georgia State 70-21. Now, both of those programs could be on a bit of a Cinderella run and may decide what happens in the CFP later on this season. Also, last week's Saturday Spotlight and Upset Special were not as close as expected. So, to break it all down, I'm going to discuss with my guy, Tyler Moore. Tyler, my dude, what is up?
Not much. You kind of hit it on the head. Last week there's some exciting games, but this week, I think this is the one everyone's had circled for since April or May when the dates actually came out. This is the week. This is November 1st, right? Yeah. This is the week.
I'll say this before we get to it, man. November has so many great games. Mm-hmm. If you go through the conferences, who plays who, kind of projecting forward, which we'll do a lot of that tonight. I'm sure we're going to project a lot of teams and how they're looking so far, because we're only a month and a half in. So far, you can see where teams are right now, but based on what they have in front of them, you can kind of start to speculate who's going to be where, given who they play against. So, and a lot of teams are 4-0 that right now sounds good, but we'll see how that holds up. But let's kind of retract to last week. And I know I had for my Saturday Spotlight, I had a pretty game that was not so pretty to watch, actually. And that was Texas Tech and Utah. So just to open up the show, man. So I thought in that game, both defenses were pretty good throughout the game. And the quarterbacks were the ones that had the problems. Like Barry Morton struggled, Dan Pierce struggled, which I kind of expected. I figured that they were going to kind of condense their offense, just try to run the ball to kind of stay, in tune with Texas Tech. But the quarterbacks were terrible, man. Barry Morton had 2 picks. Dan Pierce had 2 picks. They had 2 fumbles apiece, or a fumble apiece, really. And I think the game was kind of slow until Morton got hurt. And then once Morton got hurt, it just changed the tide. They scored 24 points in the fourth quarter. Will Hammond took over. He took him a bit to get started, kind of find his rhythm a little bit, but he sparked him. He had 13 of 16, almost 200 yards, 2 touchdown passes, no turnovers. And the game kind of got predictable as the game kind of got away from Utah a little bit. But the one thing I will say is I'm not trying to start something on the show. I'm lying. I am trying to start something. There may be kind of a quarterback controversy down in Lubbock.
Okay.
Because, so here's how it goes. Morton should be back after the bye week, so he's fine. But you kind of watch how he struggled against a team. He probably should have squashed a lot sooner and then have Hammond step in, and they just kind of not miss a beat from there. It makes you kind of wonder. Mm-hmm. So as great as things are going down for the Red Raiders, it wouldn't shock me if we had some questions about that. They're going to have to answer 2 weeks coming out of the bye if their quarterback is ready to play as they suspect. Because I think they're so far, and I'll talk about this with another team later as well, but they're so far ahead of schedule with the NIL that if you got something here, you might as well keep it going. So that's kind of how I saw that Saturday Spotlight from last week. Yep. And what was your Saturday Spotlight?
The one that was a blowout. It was Indiana, Illinois. There's not too much to say about that one. We rolled into it. It was 17 versus 9. You're like, okay, this is gonna be good. We're gonna a good litmus test for both of them. Definitely at 63-7. The only touchdown Illinois scored was a blown coverage. I think the corner actually slipped. But Mendoza, I'm gonna swing. I want to swing this into another segment, but Mendoza, man, he killed it. And what's his name? What is Illinois' coach name? Belima.
Oh yeah.
He kind of reverted back to why he got fired at Wisconsin back in the mid 2010s, and it was because he just can't play against high-ranking opponents. And
big boys.
Good on Kurt Signetti for having that team ready to play. But they played lights out. They put their foot on the gas and never took it off the throat, actually. So it was very surprising to see, and one that I was like, okay, this is going to be a Big Ten slobber knocker, because both defenses have been playing pretty well. And then, but just Mendoza to come out and swing for the fences, it was something that I wasn't expected. I know it's crazy to see the scoreboard for Indiana to throw up that kind of points, but it was. I sat there and watched it. I just couldn't believe it. I was basically in awe for the Indiana team.
So I'll kind of save the segment for you for the offensive side, but the defense is what kind of stood out for me too, because they're still kind of building up their team also with all the transfers and him coming from James Madison and stuff like that. They're still building up what they have there, but the defense was, So they were 1 of 10. Illinois was on third down. That's one thing. They ran the ball 20 times. They had 2 yards total for the entire game. I never saw that happen, especially to Brett Bielema's team. That's not happening for them. Whether he was in Arkansas or Illinois, it never seemed to happen like that. So to see them get locked down like that, it kind of was surprising for me. And they had this formula kind of working of they can rush the passer. That's one thing. They can stop the run. That's another thing. They're a fun group to watch. They're not a powerhouse by any means, but they're one of these teams, these wild cards in the conference that are really fun to watch. And I'm like, yo, beating the doors off of them like that. Yeah, that was a shocker, man. I picked them for the upset, but no way did I see that happening like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, absolutely not. It was, I'm curious to see how they play against another Big Ten team who is ranked later on the season. I haven't looked at their schedule, but I imagine they're going to play one of the big boys, and we'll see how it turns out then. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I never caught this one. What was your spotlight game last week?
That was my spotlight game. My upset game was Missouri, South Carolina. I had South Carolina beat Missouri, but they just couldn't stop Hardy. He's like a bowling ball. He reminds me of Marshawn Lynch. Sean Alexander, Marshawn Lynch, like hybrid kind of a player. I mean, once he gets going, it's impossible to bring him down, and that's ultimately what cost them the game, is not being able to stop Missouri. And you really don't think Missouri is like this powerhouse team. You always think of Missouri as like a finesse team. They remind me of a typical a Big 12 team, but they are like mid-pack SEC, but moving their way up. But yeah, they really surprised me. I thought South Carolina would bounce back, but I was wrong, and I was actually bet like 3 or 4 games on a parlay. And right before that South Carolina game came out, I cashed out because I was like, I don't know if I trust it. And thankfully I did. But props to Missouri for holding fast, and probably going to jump up in the AP poll again this week. So.
Yeah, so I think we may have underrated them. I know I did.
Absolutely.
Missouri, yeah. I definitely underrated them, what they were doing. And I think maybe even the case of Carolina, because they opened up very highly ranked this season. We saw that. Even to where we wouldn't even, as a VTech fan, I was like, there's no way Beaver would even consider coming to VTech. Now it seems like he doesn't have the program that I thought he did, right? And I think because they've lost so much talent to the NFL, they haven't been able to replenish that talent. And you're depending on Nick Harbor to take that next step, which I don't think that's going to happen just yet. Sellers, I think, is a good prospect, but he's also very young as well. I just think we saw these teams totally different, and that's kind of starting to meet in the middle a little bit. But I do want to kind of harken back to your point, because I think I know where you're going with this. From last week, who was the team that either hurt themselves the most or helped themselves the most last week?
I'm gonna go help, and that's Curt Cignetti and the Indiana Hoosiers. Is that what you had too?
No.
Okay, so it does wonders. From the last time we've seen them play against a ranked team, we saw their doors get blown off by Ohio State, and then they roll into play Notre Dame, and they didn't fare so well. But then to come back and face at the time a number 9 Illinois team and put it to bed early, that speaks volumes for him, especially in his second year. Coaches, a good coach will always continue to learn. I haven't heard him talking too much trash this year. I think that's what kind of hurt him kind of a bit last year.
Be humble.
I think those kind of like humbled him, and then bring, like you said, they're still bringing stuff in. Those James Madison guys, they are learning how to be in a bigger conference, a bigger program. The weight room is obviously catching up to them. Good on them. So like I said, later we're going to see in the season what they're made of. And I'm really excited to see what that is, because you can never have too many, Big Ten teams flourishing, especially when it seems like the SEC might be down.
Right. And I think, just to kind of harken back to Mendoza, I think your big storyline, your lead storyline was Mendoza.
Yeah.
Just how efficient he was on Saturday is the one that I really want to kind of nail down. 2
incomplete passes. I think that's what it was.
Am I tripping here? Yes.
2 incomplete passes.
1 of 23.
Yeah.
And have you seen the QBR?
No, I did not see his QBR.
93.6 QBR?
Yeah.
5 TDs, no picks. That's elite quarterbacking.
Yeah.
And you're not throwing, we're not throwing the first round guys. I much respect to Elijah Surratt and Omar Cooper, but you're not throwing to elite targets. He's taken a huge step coming from Cal and just what he's showing. And I think for some people, they're kind of throwing him in the first round, back into the first round. I can see it. It's like I said, what they have going for them is, and I agree with you 100%. They rush the passer, they stop the run. The receivers are good, they're adequate, but the quarterback, I think, is the linchpin there. Having a quarterback that has equal talent to whatever guy you have in the conference. I'll talk about that later. But having a guy like that can really play changes their dynamic. So again, I don't think they're a complete product whatsoever, but they're going to be a player in this down the stretch based on what they've got going on for them.
Correct. Yep.
So it's funny because out of helped and hurt the most, thought you were going to go with Clemson again, but we already played that card several times. I think the horse is dead already with Clemson. Yeah. And just so people understand.
He's my Scott Frost.
Oh yeah, he's all you got is one thing that has to happen.
Yeah, one thing. Yeah, I think it's happening this year.
Yeah, so I do think like with them, just to kind of go off Clemson real quick, they can't recover from this. There's no way. Losing at Death Valley to Syracuse, who by the way, shout to Jonte Cook, he really is doing well in these big time games against big time opponents. Mm-hmm. But the team that I kind of looked at who got hurt the most based on just injury alone was Oklahoma.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah, I think that was, just like yesterday, I think it was. It came out, said he has hand surgery, indefinite. I don't know how long that is. I don't know what kind of timeline that is, but yeah, that hurts, especially when I think they're rolling to Texas here pretty soon.
2 weeks, I believe. 2 weeks.
So, I mean, that's big blow for them. But, that defense is real. So, I mean...
Yeah, so I'm with that, and I get it. And just to paint this picture, like Material's not having a dominant season throwing the football whatsoever, but it's what he does, throwing the football and running the football. That's the one thing I didn't really know about him coming from Washington State. Correct. He's kind of anchored both the air and the rushing attack, and I think that's the big part. And Tim missing that game against Texas, against Arch Manning, their rivals, that's a big one. Just being 4-0 right now, I just wonder, can Michael Hawkins kind of keep the thing going? I'm not sure about that. So, because they could have been a player. We talked about them last week as far as them being one of like top teams in the conference, right? Because of their defense primarily, but still, not having your quarterback who's kind of been engineering these wins, it's a big blow for them, man. I think they're going to either decide whether you keep it going or you fall flat just based on losing your quarterback. So I think that's a big one, man. I feel bad for Oklahoma because they had a shot here, I think. And we'll see. I mean, it's still to be expected. We'll see. Now, let me ask you this question. Is your Saturday spotlight a night game?
Yeah.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Penn State, Oregon.
Yeah.
So everyone who watches this show knows I'm Ohio State hockey, and they're playing against Washington. Nothing against Washington. They are a good team. Coleman's a great running back. Desmond Williams? Is that his name? The quarterback.
Nothing more for Oregon.
No.
Nothing more.
No, I'm talking about Washington's quarterback.
Oh,
Desmond Williams. Desmond Williams, and Coleman, they are very formidable offense. I'm looking forward to watching that because he's a true dual threat quarterback. I'm kind of see how Matt Patricia does that. And I'm not taking away from that 3:30 game. And but I really want to see how James Franklin goes up in this, in Nittany Valley, with a top 10 matchup and with someone who has historically sucked in these predicaments, these environments. And I want to see how Drew Aller does it against it. And, Dan Lanning is a very good coach for Oregon. Oregon is running a very efficient offense right now. And, Penn State always has good defense. They bring Jim Knowles over from Ohio State. So, that matchup is very well known between the two teams. Mm-hmm. And so it's this is basically all on James Franklin. Like, the ball is in your court. You're doing your wideout. You're going to have the stadium rocking. Everyone remembers the Penn State versus Michigan game from, like a decade ago when they had to call a timeout before the game even started because it was so loud there. Yeah. That's the kind of environment that's going to be there in Happy Valley. But it's just like, is James Franklin going to be able to outcoach Dan Lanning in this situation? Drew Aller, I think he'll play well. Those running backs, they're going to help him out a lot in this situation. But it all comes down to the coach, man. And then it's like, if he loses this game, how long is his leash at this point? Because it's getting ridiculous. I think he's like 3-20 in top 10 matchups, which is very, very bad for a big time Big Ten coach, and it's not looking pretty. But we're gonna see it here, and that's why I'm really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, and actually, this is my upset special because I am going to go with Oregon, and the reason why I kind of sorted through it was because of what you said. So the record is actually 4-20 against top 10 teams since 2016. So I give the slight nod to Lanning. I've seen Lanning win a game at Ohio State. I've seen him do that before. So I have confidence that he can do it. A little help, never hurt nobody, except for you, of course. But I've seen him do. I mean, I've seen him. rally the team to get it done. Plus, we talk about this with Oregon all the time. They're one of these teams equipped to handle the Big Ten. They have the size inside, on the O-line, D-line. They can stand up to your running backs. And this season, Aller's not been as sharp as we normally have seen him either. I do think that has to do a little bit with bringing in Trevor Pena from Syracuse, them not being on the same page entirely. So you're trying to rely on, Keyshawn Allen, Nick Singleton. But again, Oregon can kind of combat that with their size. Their linebackers, Betcher's a really good linebacker. They just have the parts to kind of match up with them. And I think that's one of the bigger problems. And even though normally I would be concerned about the inexperience they have with Oregon, because now you're bringing in Dante Moore. It's funny because a couple weeks ago, I was like, he can't be a Heisman candidate. Nah, he's not experienced enough. I probably should believe in myself on that. Yeah. And then their 5-star, Jacorian Moore, has been awesome, man. The 5-star receiver, he's been incredible. They just have enough there. The running backs are decent. It's not like last year or from a couple years ago, but Mekhi Hughes is nice. Jaden Lemar is nice, and they're off to hot starts. I just think what's going to happen ultimately, like you said, it's on Franklin. Can Franklin pull this team out? Can he get them ready to play? Dan Lanning's going to do his thing. Even though his guys are inexperienced, he's been there before, and he's won these games before. I just think trends hold, man. Trends hold. I think the passing aspect, if the game becomes a part where you see that Oregon has a lead, 10-point lead, and it's on Aller, you're taking away the running aspect of that. I just think at that point, it's going to be on Aller and Franklin to manage the game properly, especially in like a one-score game at home. If he gets tense and makes a mistake, it's crazy. Now, I will say this, though, just to kind of bonus cap this. I don't know if he's in hot water necessarily based on what happened last year with your guy, Ryan Day, right? Under the gun, he finally got it done, got the monkey off his back. Penn State still got to the semifinal. So it's not like it's totally there now. Is the patience wearing thin? Absolutely. But they made it further than they have in the last, 30 years?
Correct.
So I mean, give and take for me, man. But I'm going to go with my gut here. I'm going to go with the Ducks to walk into Beaver Stadium and take the win.
Yeah, and I think this is the first real test for both teams. I know Oregon played against Oregon State, but I think this is the first real test for both teams, and you couldn't ask for a better environment. Like, I know Alabama, Georgia's on ESPN at the same time, but I know a lot of SEC honkies are going to be watching that one because there's a good chance that Alabama upsets that one. That's not my upset special, 17-5, but there's a good chance that Alabama pulls that one off because I don't think either of those teams are very that good this year. But my upset special is Arkansas beating Notre Dame.
You mind if I go first on this one? Because you're probably way more spicier than my Saturday Spotlight. I know your upset is hotter than mine, so I'll say the best for last, though.
Okay.
All right. So just for my Saturday Spotlight, I'm going to run this back one more time, one more week with Illinois. And USC. Okay. Only because it's dicey with USC. Again, a lot of these teams are kind of sitting there 4-0. They're kind of feeling good about themselves, especially in the Big Ten. So you have at 4-0, we have now Indiana at 4-0. You guys are undefeated, but it is what it is. We have Maryland at 4-0, so shockingly, and also we have USC at 4-0. So it's going to kind of work itself out. But I'm more curious about USC. Because now USC, and again, they still haven't played a game like late in the season on the road inside of a Big Ten stadium. Like, I would love to see USC in November in Iowa at some point at night. Not there yet, but still we get a little preview of them going to Illinois. I just want to see kind of how they handle this because if they stumble a little bit, they're going to be screwed. But if they win, they handle the running game of Illinois because Illinois, I think, will go back to basics. Like not rely on their quarterback as much, try to run the football, get back in their rhythm. They got smacked around last week, so I would expect them to come out firing. And you're bringing a West Coast team playing at 9 a.m. on their time slot. So it's a bit of discomfort for USC also. I just want to see how they handle that. Now, the key player is going to be Eric Gentry stopping the run. Now, the other part is, too, if they manage to win this game convincingly, USC, they then have games that are going to be much harder. So you have games against Michigan, who's shaky with their quarterback inexperience. Notre Dame, who's a rival but rattled. Nebraska could be tougher. And then they have their late game in November against Oregon. So based on how things are lining up, and the polls like USC, man, let's not get it twisted. They like USC a lot.
Yeah.
I just want to see if USC can kind of handle just holding serve in a given week where they're not under much pressure. That's all I got as far as the Saturday Spotlight.
Yeah, I think they were slow against Purdue. A slow start. I think that was pretty close until midway through the second half. But there's
Michigan
teams
State too.
But yeah, I mean, there's teams you're not going to be able to do that against, and one of them is going to be. I don't know much I don't know how Illinois is going to fare with this because, like you said, this is a big bounce back week for them. If they want to remain in the top 25, they they have to bounce back here. But Michigan, that's not going to be a walk in the park for USC because just like last year, they thought they had that one in the bag, and I think they lost that one if I'm not mistaken. I think they lost it to Michigan last year. But anyways, my my upset special is I think we're gonna take one out of the playoff race right here. We're gonna have the Razorbacks beating Notre Dame. I think this is it. So I think there's already turmoil. The beat reporters in South Bend are already calling for Marcus Freeman to take over defensive coaching for that first-time coordinator, and he said no. And the defense has been absolutely shaky since Al Golden is gone, and it just hasn't gotten any better. And I think the Razorbacks are only 4.5 point dogs. Let's say 5, but it's CJ Carr. He can play, but he's so up and down, and I just don't think that Marcus Freeman has those guys. I don't think they're ready to play. There's too much inexperience on that. Especially, I don't know if they've flipped schemes completely with Al Golden gone, and then having the true freshman quarterback. I think this is a lot for them to have to swallow on this one, and I think the Razorbacks being just a bigger team in general, this takes Notre Dame out of the playoffs right here, and so that opens up one of those at-large bids for one of these other teams. So I don't think they're making it through this week.
So I think the theme has been with them just how they play in the trenches. Yeah. And usually Arkansas has plenty of length, especially at the end spots, plenty of length. So they can definitely disrupt the passer. We saw that with Carr too. Once the pocket collapses, he's not getting away. Like, it's not going to happen for him. Correct. And there is, like you said, a lot of turmoil. This question about the defense has been horrendous, man. I think they've given up maybe, I'm correct, about at least 12 plays with 30 yards or more in their secondary. And that's just a no-go. Usually for them and that defense, that never happens. Correct. So, yeah, man, that's a good call. And what's the spread, like 6.5, something like that?
Yeah, 4.5. I know it's not that much, but I mean, that's enough for me to say, hey, Arkansas is taking this one. So
they're going to end up playing in Fayetteville, right?
Yes.
Man.
Raunchous crowd. I think Notre Dame stays in it early, but then I think it gets away from them in the second half. I think a turnover on offense, like a pick six or a fumble recovery for a touchdown, is what blows this game wide open for the Razorbacks.
And I skimmed through it and I looked at it, and so I didn't pick it. I didn't have the heart to pick it, so I'm glad you did. But very similar quarterbacks, not in the same level of proficiency, of course. No, not that, but same type of quarterback in Arkansas as well. The dual threat passer that can do enough through the air to keep you honest. It's starting to line up kind of funny. Now, if they were to lose this game, these guys, and the guys we talked about, coaches, I think we're kind of going into our runoff section here, but Freeman, Franklin, Sweeney's for sure gone. I'm pretty sure that's a done deal for Sweeney. And by the way, small news note here: they fired Gundy yesterday. Yeah, yesterday.
Which 2 days ago or whatever it was, but Gundy's
long time coming. Long time coming. Which is, that's still a pillar in the NCAA world. I just think for the most part, Sweeney's gone, but I know that Franklin is safe for another year at least. Same with Freeman. Those guys can save themselves very easily. In Franklin's case, just beat a top 10 team. And we'll shut up for a little bit. In Freeman's case, just take over the defense, man.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science. Just take over the defense. It's not rocket science. Yeah. There's no other way around that, I think. But I like I said, I still want to see what happens with the next coming weeks with these teams. I'm looking at USC, and I really want to know what we got with Indiana. I'm curious to see how they play out. Like, that's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun with Indiana.
I'm gonna pull up the schedule real quick. So and then if we want to talk about like we talked about sort of it last week, but the AP poll is so bad on how they're ranking these things because I losing by 56 points. I don't know. I thought Illinois would drop completely all the way out, and then Washington has played so well. How have they not moved up in? And coming into the season, they were higher ranked. I would say I think they were closer to the top 50 than USC was. So why aren't they? But obviously we see it. Clips being shared and stuff. that these people are very subjective and biased to where these teams are put, and then it's especially with like James Franklin being the number 2 team over Ohio State, because my wife was even like, why is Ohio State ranked 3 going into the
right.
into the week 1 when they're the national champions? Well, people are biased, there's players that leave, coaches that leave, yada yada yada. But then you when you think about it, these selective committee, it's almost like they set up Penn State last year to have the perfect opportunity to make it to the national championship.
To run, yeah.
To run it.
Yeah.
And then we see that, and then you're just like, man, if you think about it, they did. They tried to set that up perfectly for Penn State, and it ended up backfiring. And they play favorites at all levels in this. And it's just absolutely ridiculous. So I don't know if you have anything to say on that. How,
is Notre Dame ranked though? I guess you bring that up because
I don't think they're ranked anymore.
Not anymore.
There's no way. I don't think there's any way they can be.
But but they were holding on for a while though.
Yeah.
Even when they lost Miami, it was like, okay, red flag here. I could be wrong. Based on what happened afterwards, I could be totally wrong about them. But I feel like one of these teams, either Clemson, Notre Dame, one of them were ranked even after losing to A&M. I could be wrong about that one with the A&M.
They were.
After the loss to A&M, right? Mm-hmm. And see what I'm saying? Even then, they are playing favorites. And unless, in the case of Illinois, unless you really love what they're doing, as far as losing to Indiana, and you really love Indiana, to keep them in the ranked, it's a fair question to ask.
Yeah.
It's a fair question to ask. And even I'm going to be probably in-state biased, but even Maryland, at where they are now, why can't Maryland be ranked 25? I'm just curious. Something like that. Maryland, your USCs of the world. I'm not comparing Maryland to USC, but I'm just saying, where's the line here? Where's the line of delineation between those teams that have a loss, that are still ranked, versus those that are undefeated, that are ranked, or unranked rather? So I think that's a big part of it, man. But the best thing about it is it should work itself out. And that's the best part about it. Even wherever Texas lands, and I'll be critical of Texas too, they haven't looked great either.
Right.
So what about that? Also, small note, man, I think Georgia slams Alabama this week too.
Think so? Kirby Smart's defense against Tyler Simpson.
I do. I do.
I could see it. I could see it both ways. Because you kind of think Alabama's fighting for their life. And if they lose another big SEC game, I think DeBoer might be. Yeah, those donors aren't gonna be too happy. But to swing back to this, Indiana this week they play Iowa, and then in 2 weeks they play against Oregon. That's October 11th, and then they got Michigan State, UCLA, Maryland November 1st, Penn State November 8th. So, I mean, it shapes up. We're gonna see how good Indiana really is with Oregon, Maryland, and Penn State. So I guess when it comes down to it, are they really as good as they indicated against Illinois? But we're gonna see it. Like you said, it's gonna work itself out.
It will, and I think what's gonna happen with them is ultimately they'll be given a lot of grace for playing those teams. And the thing is too, man, having them on your schedule also earns a lot of respect if you're Signetti as well. Because no, he's not talking trash necessarily, but the schedule is also the schedule. You know who's on your schedule. So ducking and running from it also speaks volumes as well, versus a team that may hide from the smoke in November, Alabama.
Oh,
versus
I thought you were talking about USC not playing over in the snow yet.
Oh, that'll happen. Don't worry.
No, I think their only game this way is it Michigan next week? I think that might be the only one. Let me check real quick.
So for them, they won't go outside until at all. Actually, I peep game. They won't do it. Maybe it might be colder in October in South Bend, but from what I understand, it's Michigan at home. I'm pretty sure for
Michigan
USC.
At home. Yeah, it's October 11th. Michigan at home. October 18th at Notre Dame. And then
Nebraska.
They play against
at home, right?
At Nebraska, November 1st. Northwestern at home, Iowa at home, at Oregon, UCLA at home. So I mean,
that's the one though.
Yeah.
So going to Autzen is the one I'm. Yeah, if they can. So I was trying to tell Samasi in the group chat, but if USC can survive this schedule and just play close against Oregon, man, they can buy themselves a shot. Just close.
Yeah,
that's it. And considering how teams are going to fall out, like we said, Notre Dame's falling out the race. Oklahoma's will be kind of dicey. Texas may. I'm wary of Texas. I put it like that. I'm very wary of Texas with their schedule, how things shake out. So that's, again, man, it's the best part of the year. Like, teams are
Yeah.
undefeated, but you can still kind of see over the horizon just a little bit each week, closer and closer. And that's what's up, man.
Yeah, and like the Big Ten is loaded. We see it. We named all the teams, and then you look at the ACC. You have Florida State and Miami. We get to see that next week. So don't do anything next week because that game's next week. And then the SEC is like Survivor, because you're like, oh, Clemson's so good, not Clemson. Sorry, LSU's so good they beat Clemson, and then you're like, well, Clemson's not that good.
Yeah.
So it's how good is LSU, and we're going to see these teams. I mean, we say it all the time, like you said, everything works itself out. These teams are going to beat themselves up, but what conference is going to be reigning supreme here in the end? And so that allows, the ACC could have 2 teams in now. You could have potentially 5 teams from like the Big Ten slide in, because you could be 1, 3, 5, 6, whatever coming into the end of November. So I mean, it's about to get crazy. But like you said, it works itself out. But
it does, man.
But like the NIL has turned college football on its head. Something we're not like used
It
to.
has, man.
And the conference realignments really have too. And I'm really excited to. I like you. I want to see these West Coast teams come play in November over here in Pennsylvania and Ohio and Michigan, because we saw Tennessee try it last year in December. Didn't work out too well for them.
No.
And I mean, and they're pretty close regionally. So I would be really curious to see how those West Coast teams translate to the East Coast in late November, December timeframe too.
I think it's just the one team that stands out is just Oregon. They're built the right way. They've always been, even though they're Chip Kelly, they've always been built the right way. That model of size, power, yet be able to play finesse with your playmakers. That's the differential, and playing on that fast track. So that, I mean, we'll see, man. We'll see how they withstand it. But I'm just telling you, I like Oregon's chances this week. I really do.
Yeah, I'll tell you. It's like I said, it's a fun game. Saturday spotlight for me. I'm just gonna sit back and enjoy that one because. No stress in the game. My stress is at 3:30, so I'm excited for the 7:30 game.
Yes, sir, my dude. Any last thoughts?
No, like I said, we have it's the biggest weekend in almost sports. So like we went through the college games, but then in pro you have Chiefs, Ravens, you have Buccaneers, Eagles. You got Colts, Rams. Who would have thought that would be a good game?
That's a great one.
But we have that. You have the Cowboys, Packers coming on. So I mean, it is
a doubleheader on Monday.
Yeah, it is an absolutely great weekend for football in general. And if you like golf, Saturday morning is whatever. But it is a great weekend for football. So just sit back and enjoy it.
Absolutely, my dude. So I'm LP Crew for my guy Tyler Moore. This has been the Freshman 15 College Football Podcast. Peace.
Peace.